What is up, guys? Sweet here, and today I am back with the top 8 heroes that pros are currently using to dominate the pro scene as well as their pubs. Hopefully you guys are excited for this video. If you are, please like and subscribe to help our channel grow, as obviously we're trying to post daily. It does take a lot of work, so if you could like the video, and that's it, it really does help us out. On top of that, with these 8 heroes, I also have 2 honorable mentions who I'm not certain are gods in pubs, but have been getting picked and even first phase picked in the pro scene. So yeah, let's hop right into it. And on top of the content you're gonna be seeing today, I recently talked about Necro. I played a Necro game where live, I talked about all of my thoughts and really everything that came to mind. It was a very funny match as they basically gave up early on. But what I discussed was like how to crush the early game, how to really dominate your laning stage and not just go even. Because a lot of people think they're winning. They think they're doing okay, but at the end of the day, they're not really doing that well. So if you're interested in seeing that video, click the link down below to the GameLeap website. It's over there. I've also made some other videos such as a live Legion game. I've even talked about Tidehunter recently, updating his course. We even have an updated Legion course now. And so there's so many things to check out on the GameLeap website. Super cheap, a lot of time on our hands, I'm sure right now because of the quarantine that I am also going through. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. Alright, so at number 1 we have Vengeful Spirit. Now this hero isn't particularly popular right now, but all I have to say is that its win rates on Dota 2 Pro Tracker and Dota Buff for this week are very high. On Pro Tracker it's 56.9, and this is over 276 games, which is, you know, pretty substantial. Now, basically what I want to say about Venge is I think she had a pretty weak laning stage in the past. A lot of people would agree with me on this sentiment. And now, ever since they changed it where you can basically be any sort of hero and buy a headdress and basically be okay in lane, I think this hero has become more potent. Also, I want to keep in mind that I think the Vlad's build up, which is one of the best items to actually build on Venge, as you know, you keep the Vlad's aura even if she dies, is now one of the best build-ups in Dota because you can buy a Ring of Bassi, which is fantastic on Venge, it helps her with her mana problems, and you can buy a Buckler, and you can buy a headdress to help the laning stage. So you could literally be this Venge with like 1500 net worth, which is not a lot, and have boots and 3 of these small items on top of like a stick, and all of a sudden you're super tanky, right? You're super strong, and yeah, it just makes a lot of sense to me. In the recent patch as well, Venge's stun got buffed a little bit. It does, I think, 10 less damage at level 1, but quite a bit more at max, making it a bit of a better nuke overall, which definitely helps in the early game when you hit level 7 and you have this 360 damage nuke on a pretty low cooldown. I mean, also considering it's a stun. On top of that, I've always felt like Venge is a hero that kind of gets swept to the side only because of how bad of a laner she is. But if you get to the mid game as Venge and you have a maxed out Wave of Terror as well, and you, for some way, you have high levels, maybe you've been farming quite a bit or winning fights, and you have all 3 of your spells maxed out, man, you are one of the strongest heroes in Dota just for the pure amount of physical damage that you actually give your team. And then finally, having 2 swaps of charge has always been pretty strong. I feel like this is a very underrated change that got put in place a long time ago, but definitely needs to be respected. Next up on the list is Phoenix. Now, I am certain that Phoenix is a very, very strong hero right now. The only thing I would mention, guys, if you plan on picking Phoenix, you have to watch a pro replay before you do. On top of that, you also need to play multiple games of this hero because otherwise, you're not going to fully understand his kit. Right, your Q does damage to yourself, your W does damage to yourself. All your spells basically do damage to yourself, right? Your dive is a very clunky spell that can be hard to use. You can cancel it. Your fire spirits are a really weird skill shot that can be difficult to hit without proper practice. And Sunray, you can like move in the middle of it. If you know what to do, it can save you. You can go up cliffs. And Egg is one of the hardest spells in Dota to use because if you slightly mess it up, you die. And that's the reality behind Phoenix right now. He's one of the highest DPS heroes in Dota, hands down. The amount of damage a Phoenix can do, pause 5, pause 4, pause 3, even mid. I literally played it mid recently. It does so much damage. On top of that, its Ags, I want to talk about its Ags because its Ags is insane. Basically what it allows you to do is get 3 more hits on your egg, unless I'm mistaken, and take one of your teammates into the egg. Right, so basically you can save them. Let's say your gyrocopter has 100 HP, you save them, you put it in the egg, and you can keep them alive. On top of that, it also allows you to use Sunray during the egg. And Sunray, guys, is one of the highest DPS spells in Dota going into the mid and late game because it is percentage-based damage. So no matter how much health someone has, Sunray is going to absolutely melt them. And if you put that on top of the raw DPS of egg, right, of the supernova, there is almost no one who can just chill in a Sunray and try to kill an A that has like 13 attacks. It's ridiculous. And to sum it all up, the main reason why Phoenix has recently become popular is because over like the last 5 patches, I swear he's been buffed in every single one in terms of like overall laning stats, armor, damage, like literally everything. Next up on the list, we have Lycan. And I'm not gonna talk too much about Lycan because unless you guys have been living under a rock, you should know that this hero is mildly broken, even after the nerfs. Guys, on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, over 869 games, and sure, you know, this accounts for before the nerfs, the hero had a 64% win rate. That, I mean, literally, do I have to really say anything else? And the reality is, even after the nerfs, Lycan is still unbelievably strong. Ever since they made his shapeshift 4 seconds longer, his laning stage a little bit better with that 1 extra HP regen, and the fact that you can start with this headdress giving you like 8 HP regen has made Lycan a very sustainable laner. And on top of that, right, it is almost impossible to deal with him in the first 50 minutes of the game. Hands down. Literally, if you get the Helm of the Dominator and he gets, you know, a Necromonicon and runs at you, you feel helpless. You feel helpless. Not to forget that Helm of the Dominator was cheaper, right, last patch. Necro is cheaper. The build up to Necro is better because of Sage's Mask. Helm of the Dominator gives 20% damage to all units, right? And all of a sudden, Lycan's just broken. And he is. I think he still is. So still pick him. Next up on the list, we have PL. And the only reason I want to mention PL is this hero is getting like extreme hate for not a proper reason. Like legit, this hero is getting hated on for no good reason. And people are basically being like, oh, you know, now that Wraith King and Lycan are the carries, or like Weaver, we can't pick PL. You can still pick PL. You still can pick PL. He's fine. PL is not worse. PL's like the same. And he was really strong last patch, and he still is. If you're looking for a hero to get really good at and win solo queue games by, you know, hitting your timings, your 14-minute Diffusal, your 20-minute Manta, your 25-minute Horror, and you can do that every single game, you will gain MMR just as before, and the pros are still picking him at a 51% win rate according to Dota 2 Pro Tracker. So yes, please, still pick this hero. It's fine. Like, it's fine. Especially if you can pick it late into the game and they have no illusion counters. You're gonna win. Next up on the list, we have Wraith King, who I just mentioned before, but yes, this hero is definitely strong. Especially the lower end MMR you get, I think the better Wraith King gets due to his simplicity of execution. The hero, even if you don't know how to use skeletons, is going to get farm because you summon them, they get you like 1,000 gold. Like, that's it. And as I just said a second ago, his execution in fights is also the easiest thing in Dota. You walk in, you stun someone, you click your phase boots, or I don't know, you stay on strength treads if you bought treads, and you auto attack people to death. If you die, you have a second life and you stun someone again, and then you crit them, and if you're low, you go lifesteal. I really do think Wraith King, though, is super strong. I think Halberd is in a good place. I think Armlet is in a pretty solid place if you want to buy it on Wraith King, and, you know, Radiance is fine as well. Next up, we have Clockwork. And Clockwork, I would say, is one of the best position forwards right now, even in pubs. The hero currently has a 55.9% win rate on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, and what I want to mention is that this hero, in my opinion, is one of the best heroes in Dota for catching people in the side lane that are split pushing right now. What I want to mention in particular is something that a lot of you guys might not have thought about recently, which is basically the fact that ever since bots got removed, dealing with split push is 10 times harder. That's why a hero like Nature's Prophet has actually become more popular in the recent weeks ever since the Boots of Travel change. In fact, a lot of these split pushing heroes, such as Void Spirit and Ember Spirit, who I'm going to mention at the end of the video, are a little bit better because you can't really deal with their split push. Also, if we look at the highest win rate hero of this week, which is Meepo, at around a 57% win rate, one of his biggest weaknesses was Boots of Travel, because people could actually catch up to him when he was split pushing. Now that doesn't exist. So heroes like Nyx Assassin and, as I'm talking about here, Clockwork are able to deal with that. They're able to catch the split pushers no problem, even of course without Boots of Travel. In addition to that, we once again have to go back to the fact that a lot of these sustainable offlaners are popular right now. So just to name a few, we have Mars and Centaur that are two of the most popular offlaners right now. And Clockwork, even though he can't necessarily help them dominate their lane early on into the laning stage, because that's not what Clockwork does, he can at least drag the creep wave. And once people started figuring that out, basically you hit it early level 2, especially in early level 3, which is your major spike on Clockwork, as your battery assault goes from 20 to 45 damage, people would just drag waves. So instead of ever contesting the wave with Clockwork, which you really don't have to do, You just walk in between the tier 1 and tier 2 tower of the enemy team, you pull the creep wave in between your tier 1 and tier 2 tower, or at least in front of your tier 1 tower, and all of a sudden, the lane is completely fine, even though you have some weird double melee lane. And so yeah, just because of those two main reasons that I've at least noticed, Clockwork has become a 55% win rate hero in pubs and in pro Dota. Next up on the list we have Coop, and Coop just got some really nice quality of life changes in the recent patch, and on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, a 57% win rate. Pretty insane, right? Because Coop, in a lot of people's opinion, Coop was a awful, and I mean awful hero. Like, Coop was really bad. It was just, if you didn't have your ultimate, Coop felt unbelievably underwhelming, but now the ultimate is 10 seconds shorter, which helps. It helps, and in my opinion, what is very important is that the dagger, 65% slow at max, is almost impossible to run away from unless you have a purge or some innate mobility. Even then, Coop can basically always catch up to you. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of dagger maxing right now, and I really do think that these two main reasons helped Coop become meta. Also, blade mail's broken, which I personally think more people should be considering. And finally, before the honorable mentions, we have Coddle. And now Coddle surprises me. The only reason I'm saying Coddle is because EG is picking him, Liquid is picking him, and for that reason I'm like, okay, this hero must have viability. Now what I do want to mention is that generally they pick him with some sort of melee hero in lane. So the most notable combo in Dota is the Coddle Bristleback that is almost impossible to deal with because it's just a Bristleback with infinite quills and you literally insta-build 2 quill stacks. It's pretty self-explanatory, guys. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a Bristle who shoves your wave in, builds up these stacks, then goos you. If you try to trade with the Bristle, you get blinding lighted. It's like, I can't do anything. You really can't do anything. Even like a Slaughter, like no joke, if you try to lane Slaughter against this thing, you still can't beat it, even though Slaughter traditionally could do okay against Bristleback, if not beat him. You just can't, because your lane is always shoved in, and you just take way too much damage from the quills. On top of that, we also saw EG pick it with Terrorblade, who is also becoming a little bit more popular. Not that much more popular, but a little bit more popular. And yeah, it looked pretty good. You know, the Coddle with the headdress helped sustain the Terrorblade, who bought a Heart of Tarask. I'm sorry, not a Heart of Tarask, a Ring of Tarask. My apology, guys. What is really the difference, though? They basically give you both a million HP and infinite HP regen. But yeah, in this combination, the Coddle protected the Terrorblade, gave him more illusions, more mana, and in the mid-game, obviously provided the control Terrorblade needed to shred through his opponents with the Will-O-Wisp. And finally, for honorable mentions, we have Void Spirit and Ember Spirit, and the reason why I want to talk about them is they have been first phase heroes in all of the recent tournaments, especially Void Spirit. Now, Void Spirit's win rate is not really that high, at least not in pubs, so that's the only reason why I want to say this. Like, it is one of the most versatile heroes in Dota. We're talking about Void Spirit here. It can go off lane, it can go safe lane. I've seen it played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has legitimately played safe lane, mid lane, off lane, pause 4, pause 5. I've seen it play all of the roles in pro matches. I'm not kidding. I think it was Gambit picked it as a 5, like multiple times actually. So like, no joke. This hero, it's just good. Because what does it do? It gives you a good laning stage because your E is a great spell. It gives you control with your Q. It gives you this high tempo hero that's highest cooldown is Astral Step at 30 seconds at level 1, right? That's the highest cooldown you have. So you're almost impossible to catch. You split push unbelievably well. There's no bots in the game anymore. You kill waves, you play high tempo, you can lane anywhere. So in pro Dota, when you want to early pick hero, you want someone this versatile and this reliable. And that's exactly what Void Spirit is. Reliable and versatile. And hopefully that makes a lot of sense why this hero has been early picked. And then finally we have Ember Spirit, who has actually been a counter pick to the Void Spirit in lane at least. Or at least it helps you keep up with the tempo of the Void Spirit, because what I've seen with a lot of teams is that if they don't have the Void Spirit, even if they can sort of beat it in lane or go even, the Void Spirit just takes over the game because it's so high tempo and can be anywhere at any time. Now, what other hero does that is Ember Spirit. On top of that, Ember Spirit's Flame Guard cannot really be broken properly by the Void Spirit, and because of that, it's a pretty good laning stage. Your Sleight of Fist allows you to disengage from a lot of the damage of the Void Spirit as well, if you time it correctly, and most importantly, you can keep up high tempo. So these are like the brothers that are fighting it out, you know, both want to turn on their Xbox and they can't get it, so they're always put against each other, battling out, and it's been a ton of fun to watch. So if you guys haven't been watching Pro Dota, I am 100% sure you will be seeing a lot of Void Spirit and a lot of Ember Spirit, because yeah, they're just very versatile and strong high tempo heroes that seem to be the meta in this current point in Dota ever since Shrine have been removed and now bots following that as well. But thank you guys for watching this video of the top meta heroes that pros are picking. If you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe to help our channel grow. And I'll see you in the next one. And hey guys, remember, before you end this video, in the link down below, I've been playing a lot of live games where I talk about my thoughts in real time in the middle of a Dota match. So if you want to get in the head of a pro player, click the link down below to the GameLeap website. Super cheap right now, right? And I'm doing this a ton. We all have time on our hands. I have time to make content. You guys probably have time to enjoy and learn Dota, get better at the game. So yeah, if that combo works for you, click the link down below, and I'll see you there.